Hey folks. Hi. Hey folks. Hey Akanksha. Hi. How are you doing? Is my voice audible? Hey folks, let other people join in. Hey Manik. Hi. Hey hey hey. Hi. क्या हाल है? क्या हाल है? क्या हाल है? Is my screen visible to all of you? Hey VSR. Hi hi hi. How are you doing? How are you doing? Amazing amazing. Hi. Hey folks. How are you doing? जल्दी से लाइक कर दो वीडियो तब तक के लिए as soon as possible. जल्दी जल्दी करो. I'm just waiting for another 2-3 minutes and let's try to get to some volume of people coming in, right? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Let other people join. और बताओ क्या चल रहा है? Hey Shrikant, hi, how are you, man? How are you doing? Amazing. Hi, 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 hi. Let more people come in, come in, come in. Yeah. So, how are you finding the lectures till now? Are you able to practice, guys? Till now, are you able to do assignments? Has it helped you across? Hey Jitendra, hi, how are you doing? Hey man. Till then, till when people will start in another 2 minutes or so. But till then, quickly like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't till now. Yeah. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, Jojo aa raha hai. Please introduce yourself, whosoever is there. And since I know that my screen is visible, today's lecture is going to be super amazing. It is something that I have thought from a very different perspective, that how do you essentially think like a product manager and make great decisions. That is something that we'll do. But yeah, let more people join in. Let's see. Yeah. Awesome. Who else is there? Can you quickly join? I don't want to do this lecture in a less volume because this is like a very detailed and a very valuable lecture. So I would ideally want more people to kind of join in, right? अगर ज्यादा लोग join नहीं करते हैं, for example, for it's Saturday, yeah, yeah. Then at that point of time, then we will essentially probably try to do something like a small AMA or something for half an hour. Because मैं चाहता हूँ कि यार कि ज्यादा लोग आए और उनको पता चले, मतलब this is a very interesting insight, right? Hey Himanshu, Jai Shri Ram. Hey man, please like the video till now. Yeah, awesome, amazing, amazing, amazing. Give me a second here. Why is my laptop not charged? Awesome, awesome. Quickly. So guys, let's do this. Let's quickly start. Hey Vikas, hi. How are you doing, man? Please like the video as much as possible. Hey Nilesh, hi. Hey Nilesh. So Nilesh is saying, hello. Is there any benefit of doing MBA for this profile? For sure, yeah. Matlab like, see, I'm never in disagreement of doing an MBA, but you should do an MBA for the right reasons, right? What I essentially mean by that is you should not do an MBA to essentially become a product manager. That's an outcome. But rather, you should do an MBA to learn from experiences and gain value, right? And if you gain value, that is effectively going to help you become a product manager, like a great network, like the ability to solve great problems and stuff like that, right? So it is a good way to do that, but there are other ways besides this also to become a product manager, which can be easily done, right? Okay, so let me quickly start here. Okay, so I think the topic of the session is like super clear, which is like making great decisions as a product manager, right? Now, hey Sarah, hi. Awesome. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Hey, Arshit. Very nice to meet you. So, where I want to essentially start is like, while product managers may not build the actual product, you know that most product managers, they essentially don't code, they don't do marketing copy, they don't make business plans, they don't do a bunch of stuff, right? They don't do designs and all of those things, right? But one of the critical things on which the success of a product manager is dependent is on that how do you make decisions, right? And that is far more tangible because you decide what should be the next feature. You essentially decide why that feature will be successful. You decide what should be the wireframes or what should be the PRD which should go to engineering. You decide all of those things, right? So you make, you all across your day as a product manager, you make consistently take bunch of decisions again and again, again and again, again and again, again and again, right? You, all of you guys, you essentially keep doing. So that's why the most tangible thing to become a product manager is that you should be good at making decisions, right? These decisions can be as simple as changing a small one line of copy on a landing page to the big ones that who should, what should be my next feature, right? The decisions that most product managers take, it is to unblock their team so that they can continue what to build, and they are not blocked anywhere in terms of task based structures, in terms of next steps, in terms of any help that they need from corresponding teams. So the first thing that I want to tell you today is the core role of a product manager is to bring out insights or decisions on the table, and all across the day the product manager essentially makes bunch of decisions, keeping those decisions, consistently making decisions, and that's how the life is overall spread across. Yahan tak sab clear hai mere sath? Give me a yes in the chat that you understand that product managers are far more critical to make decisions which can do three things, right? The first thing that they can do is it helps what should be the next step. Second, it helps unblock other team members. Third, it helps them better collaborate. ये तीन चीजें समझ में आ गई? Everything clear? Awesome. Let's move forward. ठीक है? Now, product managers are actually the hedge. Hedge समझते हो? Hedge का मतलब होता है कि it is like the wall against indecision. Because if you're not able to make a decision in the context of a product, in the context of a company, in the context of growth, right, you would essentially get away from the first mover advantage, or the advantage that you essentially have that there is a problem in the market. What I mean by that is, if you will not do it, somebody else will do it. So indecision is the blasphemous part of becoming a product manager, right? If you're not able to make choices, you're screwed. You're screwed. So typically the most important decisions that a PM makes are, number one, सबसे पहले तो वो ये clear करता है कि why a team exists, right? What is the vision? What is the impact that I intend to create? Why have I created even this cross-functional teams of two designers, two back-end developers, two front-end guys, one marketing guy or whatever? So how do you essentially accomplish what you essentially want from a vision perspective? That's one, right? The second is, what is your general approach? So basically there is a vision को कैसे achieve करना है, then there is something called strategy, right? So essentially from vision, how do you come to strategy? That is also something that a product manager decides, that what is your general approach. Third, what to build now, how do I prioritize, what not to build, what to build. That is also something that a product manager takes as a decision. And finally, what should be the minimum effort through which I can achieve the maximum value, right? That is the design of the MVP or the first version of the product or the second version of the product. So ये सारे decisions एक product manager consistently लेता रहता है day in day out, and this is where the success of a product manager is meant. मैं आपको एक छोटी सी story बताता हूँ, right? So I always say that in order to become a great product leader, a product manager first has to become indispensable, from indispensable to dispensable, from dispensable to indispensable, and from indispensable to dispensable again. I'll repeat. In order to become a great product leader, a product manager has to first become from dispensable to indispensable, from indispensable to dispensable again. I'll repeat. What it essentially means, when you join as a product manager, you're not writing code, you're not making designs, you're not doing any of those things. So the value that you create for a company is in terms of insights. That what is the insight that I bring forward? And if your insights are right, like for example, if I can tell to my company that there is a volume of 500 million people who are searching for maths, and I essentially bring some insight through which I can make a headway in the market or acquire more customers. So I have essentially become from dispensable to indispensable because my insight is adding value to the company. My insight is adding value. Now, once you become indispensable, most people would come to you for answers, right? That is also not right. So what a great product manager does, he creates product managers who essentially take his role, and he becomes or she becomes from indispensable to dispensable again. What I mean by that is Shravan cannot do everything. So my role as a product leader is to create product managers in my place who can make all those choices, and those are A-star product managers, right? And I can essentially focus on something else. So that is why it is very important. One of the skill sets that a product manager has to learn is to make great decisions, right? Yahan tak baat sabko clear hai? Everybody aligned with me? Give me a yes in the chat. If everybody is aligned with me, just give me a yes, yes, yes in the chat. जल्दी बताओ. Come on. Awesome सारा. बहुत बढ़िया. ठीक है. Now, the first thing is being a good decision maker, right? Intuitively, being right a lot matters, right? At the same time, in contrast, there are factors which are not under your control. बहुत सारे ऐसे factors जो तुम्हारे control में नहीं है. For example, you released an app, and Apple ने अपनी terms and guidelines ही change कर दी. They essentially changed their terms and guidelines, and there is a breach, or they started taking 50% of your revenue. So you can never foresee what is coming in the future, because macroeconomic factors can change. Like, for example, when COVID came, edtech boomed like crazy. It was a macroeconomic factor. No product manager would have predicted that, right? So what is really important is that whenever you are making decisions, they should be good decisions. We will define what do you mean by good decisions and whatever and whatnot, right? But I propose that being a good decision maker means two things. The first, making decisions using the right amount of information. That's one. Second, making decisions as quickly as possible. I'll explain. So Harshit is saying we are going to understand that. The first is, I propose being a good decision maker means making a decision using the right amount of information. Second, making decisions as quickly as possible. Second might sound underintuitive to you कि जल्दी क्यों करना है, but I'm still proposing the definition of a good decision maker is somebody who makes a decision with the right amount of information and makes them as quickly as possible. यहां तक सब लोग मेरे साथ aligned है? Give me a yes in the chat. Give me a yes in the chat if everybody is aligned with me. Being a good decision maker means two things. First, making a decision with the right amount of information. Second, making them as quickly as possible. Understood? Right? Now, making good decisions using the right amount of information, right? Deciding how important a decision is the most important decision that you make. To decide how important a decision is the most important decision that you're making, right? तो क्या होता है लाइफ में ना, दो तरह के डिसीजंस होते हैं यार. ये जेफ बेजोस ने भी बोला है. सो जेफ बेजोस essentially said there are two kinds of decisions in this world. Type 1 decisions which are not reversible. Once you have taken those decisions, you have to stick with them. Type 2 decisions are like walking through a door. You can always walk back. But what he essentially meant was that 80% or 90% of all your decisions are type 2 decisions, which are like irreversible decisions, which don't have that much of an impact, right? I'll give you a nugget of information. Out of the 50 decisions a product manager makes in a day, at least 40 of them are almost having very little impact, right? Very little impact. There are only 10 or 7 decisions which are like very high impact decisions for the product, for the company, for etc, right? So mera suggestion ye hai ki for the 40 odd decisions, right, you should spend as little time as possible. See, I'll give you one. Chalo, let me put two things in front of you, right? Is it great for a product manager to be right all the time, versus is it great for a product manager to be right only on times which are like very critical for the company? Like, for example, there are 100 decisions that you're essentially making. One product manager has probably the capability to make 90 out of 100 right decisions, right? But probably that person fails on the most critical decisions. The second thing is that you probably are great at the critical decisions, but you made like poor decisions which are non-impactful in general in nature. What kind of product manager would you want to be? The first one or the second one? First one is you made 100 decisions, out of 90 were probably correct, but you didn't make the 7 decisions which are super critical. right, for the company. Versus there's a product manager who made 10 super critical decisions and were right, versus he failed at 50 of the other decisions. What would you choose, first or second? Second one, fair enough. Yeah. So logically, you should not invest a lot of time in decisions which are not that impactful, even if you are wrong, because they are fundamentally reversible, right? उससे कुछ बदलेगा नहीं, right? It is not something will break, right? So that is why I said that it is very critical. So you understood there are two kinds of decisions. First is called irreversible decision. Second is called a reversible decision, right? The irreversible decisions are one which can have a lasting impact, like somebody getting married, somebody's death. It can be anything, right? It's a lasting impact. People would. I'll give you a practical example. I'm going to explain about this VSR going forward, right? Second is a decision as simple as buying milk today for tea. Do you give a lot of time to it, right? Or writing a small document, do you give it a lot of time about it? Or writing a Jira ticket, you don't, right? So ideally it is far more important to be right when it matters versus being trying to be right all the time, right? Understood. I'll give you a practical example. Okay. Now this is everybody is able to see my screen. This is a small framework or a small thought experiment which essentially tells you that how do you define which decision is impactful versus which decision is not impactful, right? So you see the screen. The first thing that is written is investment of resources. So you essentially rate it. Okay, if I have to make this decision, what is the investment of resources that I might have to invest, right? Second is impact of a positive. How confident are you that it will result in a positive outcome? And third is what are the structures that you can think, what are the negative outcomes that can happen because of this? Does it affect your brand and company reputation? Does it affect your existing or future customers? Does it affect your code base, system, or data? Does it have any legal risks, right? So it's a framework in which the first thing that you check is that how many resources will I take? Will it be low? Will it be medium? Will it be high? Second is what is the how confident I am on the fact that it will be a positive outcome, incremental to company changing, right? कि पूरा दुनिया ही बदल देंगे. Third, if this decision is taken, what are the negative consequences that I can face? That will it impact my brand and company reputation? Second, will it impact my existing or new customers? Will it impact my system or code base or etc.? Or will it have any legal liability risks, right? Will it have any marketing risks, right? So you essentially develop this kind of framework, which essentially tells you whether a decision is critical or not. Now we will do 3 examples around it where you will better understand what I mean by this. Yahan tak baat clear hai? Give me a yes, yes, yes. Ye baat samajh mein aayi? This chart you are able to understand? Give me a yes, yes, yes if you are able to. Jaldi batao, jaldi batao. Yahan tak baat clear hai? We have a lot of things to cover today actually. Is everybody aligned? Give me a yes, yes, yes in the chat. Insane. बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया. I want everyone, Akanksha, Shrikant, Himanshu, Sara, everybody, please tell me if you are able to understand till now. अभी मैंने क्या बोला? We have, I'll explain again. So Sara, let's assume, okay, let's understand with an example. I'll explain again. Let's assume there is a decision of changing the button of buy now color on Flipkart. For example, there is a decision that you essentially want to take. You have a thought experiment in your head. If I make the color from green to red, more people will click. Right? Now let's apply this framework and try to understand how critical this decision is. Okay. In order to change the color from green to red, what is the investment of time, people, and resources? Everybody, tell me, is it low? Is it medium? Is it high? Honestly, बताओ. सिर्फ color change करना है button का. सब लिखो. I will explain. Akanksha, I am explaining. Let's understand. So the problem statement is that you feel that if I change the color from green to red, the CTR, the click-through rate of that button will increase, right? So what is the investment of the company in order to do that? It's very low. Agreed, right? Second, what is the impact of a positive outcome? Do you really think that changing a color from green to red, right, is going to increase your CTR by 500%? Right? So what is the impact of an incremental outcome? Is it low? Is it medium? Is it high? Batao. Tell me honestly. Yeah. Batao. Low, right? Acha. अब third thing देखते हैं, impact of negative outcomes, right? The first thing is, do you think if you change the color from green to red, right, the brand reputation of the company will hit? Tell me that. Do you think if you change the color from green to red, the brand reputation of the company? No, obviously not. Do you think because of this, your future customers will not come to your website? That is also not true. Do you think it is going to make a lot of changes to your code base? That is also not true. Do you think there is a legal risk? That is also not true. So essentially, the overall importance of this decision is very low, right? Agreed? यहाँ तक सब मेरे साथ aligned है that the overall importance of this decision is very low. Correct? So ideally, if you have to make this decision, you probably should make this decision in 2 hours or 3 hours, not more than that. There is not इस डिसीजन के लिए तुम्हें यूजर रिसर्च नहीं करना चाहिए. तुम करो, अगर तुम्हें लगता है वो काम नहीं किया, रिवर्स बैक कर दो. यहां एग्जांपल क्लियर हुई? Is everybody able to understand how we essentially? So it's a very simple decision. Change the color of from green to red on buy now button, right? Right? So that's all I'm trying to put across. Ki even if so, the impact of the decision is actually low, right? So you don't have to spend a lot. It is very easy to undo. The impact is limited to a limited number of people, right? So it's not. It doesn't mean that it's not worth doing. It just means that you as a product manager should not spend a lot of time while thinking about it, right? Now the next example is, एक minute यार. Next example is, let's assume we want to change the company's logo, right? Now investment of resources in order to change that logo slightly higher, because you would need a designer or whatever or whatnot, right? You would need someone who can essentially make a great design, right? Now impact of a positive outcome possibly high, because if the logo is made very iconic, right, people will remember it, right? Like Nike, you remember the tick, right? So if you make a great logo, there might be a change in the image of the company. Make sense, right? Third, the impact on brand and company reputation, right, very high, क्योंकि अगर कुछ उल्टा सीधा चला गया तो company reputation can take a very big hit, right? How will it impact our existing or future customers? Because if the company reputation is hit, it will also impact my existing and future customers that I don't want to associate. Like, I'll give you an example. How many of you know about Tiger Woods? Tiger Woods was one of the greatest golfers of all time, right? Then he essentially got caught in a scandal and every company dissociated from him, right? Third, from a logo change, code base तो इफेक्ट नहीं होगा, और legal risks भी ज्यादा नहीं है, unless and until you are essentially breaching into somebody else's वो. So overall importance of this decision is medium to high, because it can be company changing, it can impact your brand reputation, right? इस डिसीजन के लिए आपको टाइम लेना चाहिए. How many of you remember that Airbnb had changed their logo and everybody started seeing male genitalia over there? How many of you remember? This actually happened, right? Right? Yes. One more example. So you also remember that Uber changed their logo and nobody could find Uber. Everybody thought it's SBI. You remember that time जब Uber ने अपना logo change किया ना, सबको लगने लगा यार ये तो SBI का logo है, right? So nobody could find Uber, right? So this is a very critical decision and you would essentially need time. यहाँ तक बात clear है? Make sense? Is everybody aligned with me? Right? Amazing. ठीक. अब third है random example, launching a new project for the company or a new market, right? Now it's a new project in entirety, right? So the investment of resources will be very high, right? Second is impact of a positive outcome. You know that it's a new market, it can add a lot of value, so there is a very good positive outcome, right? Impact of a negative outcome is that brand reputation might not take a hit because it's a new product. क्योंकि you are essentially entering into a new, like Mintra tomorrow wants to sell something random, it's not going to impact the overall Mintra marketplace. It's just they're entering into a new market, right? It's not going to affect their existing or future customers, right? Well, they can, but not majority of the cases. Third, it's a new market, it's a new product line, it's not going to affect their code base or system that much. And the last thing is, from a legal point of view, even if you launch something new which is not under a legal consideration, right, overall the risk to the brand reputation is very low. So the importance of this decision is again somewhere medium, right? This essentially is again a decision generally companies at scale take, right? If a startup has to put across, and if the startup has to make this decision, which is a series A, to launch into a new market, for them this becomes a critical decision because they don't have that many resources, right? But generally companies like Google, Microsoft, and other companies who have like tons of money, for them this particular template is of very high value because there is high investment. ठीक है, पैसा है मेरे पास, so I can put money. ठीक है. Second, there is low impact of failure. Even if it fails, it's not going to affect my core model. Google ने पिछले 10 साल में they've launched 50 products, almost 45 of them have failed. Allo failed, Google Groups failed, etc. But did it affect their core business model? No, it didn't, right? So second, if it has a high impact, so most companies who have good cash flows, they prefer this kind of template कि ठीक है इन्वेस्टमेंट है कोई बात नहीं, I don't mind, right? But failure का chance तो कम है ना, right? And there's a high chance of impact, so I would rather spend. So that's why Google built building 8, Google X, all of those things, right? So this is a typical template whenever you take decisions as a product manager in your life, whether you're an APM, whether you're a PM, whether you're SPM, right? You should try. And this template is not exhaustive. You can also write below legal risk, marketing risk. You can also write sales risk, and you can essentially just rate them down. Okay, how important is this? How important? And essentially come to a point, okay, this is not that important, this is important, this is not important. And you essentially start putting that, okay, this is the percentage of time, right, that I would ideally spend, right? Yahan tak baat sabko clear hai? Is everybody aligned with me? How do you essentially see the validity of a decision? Right? Yahan tak sab mere saath jude hue hain? Is everybody aligned with me? Guys, just give me a yes, yes, yes till now. यहां तक बात सबको क्लियर है? अमेजिंग, बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया. ठीक है, अब मैं आपको 3 बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग स्टेटमेंट्स के साथ छोड़ना चाहता हूं. ठीक है, वन ऑफ द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट डिसीजंस, राइट? Once you decide how important a decision is, you should adjust how long you are willing to spend on it, right? I have a proposition for you, right? Which is that good decision makers are generally the one who make their decisions quickly. I'll repeat, good product managers are generally the ones who make decisions quickly. To get to that conclusion, I will unbundle 3 principles in front of you. ठीक है. The first is, the less important a decision, the less information you should try to seek to make it. Very counterintuitive, I know, but ठीक है. The less important a decision, उतनी ही कम information चाहिए मुझे. That's all. Second, gathering information follows a Pareto principle. Means that if you want information about a particular decision, that whether that decision should be taken or not, 80% of that information आपको बहुत easily मिल जाएगी. Through research, through user research, through A, B, whatever it is, right? But the final 20% will take you exponential amount of time. Like अगर आपको 80% information for making that decision takes you 2 days, the remaining 20% will take you 10 days, right? And the last is, most decisions are not important. बताओ सही बात लगी कि नहीं लगी? बताओ. So 3 principles I'm leaving you with. The first, the less important the decision, the less information you should try to seek it to make it. Second, gathering information follows the Pareto principle, in which 80% of the information you will get very quickly. Remaining 20% will make you like probably 5 times the information. And the last is, most decisions are not important. Right? Yahan tak sab mere saath aligned hai? Does anybody disagree with the 3 principles that I have written here? राइट? तो यहां तक बात सबको क्लियर है? ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया. एक बात मैं सबको बताना चाहता हूं, मोस्ट ऑफ दीज लर्निंग्स आर नॉट माइन. if you think that all of this content is completely mine, no, it's not. I was very fortunate to learn from very good product leaders. तो मैं बहुत फॉर्चुनेट था दैट वे. तो इसीलिए मैंने बहुत सारे प्रोडक्ट लीडर्स की लर्निंग को समराइज करके तुम्हारे सामने रखने की कोशिश की. ठीक है, मेक सेंस. आगे. ठीक है. So the first thing that we want to effectively figure out is the less important a decision, the less information you should try to seek it, right? Products are generally complex, right? So figuring out all the practical ramifications of a decision, like if you change the color from green to red, right? If you change the color from green to red, right? There might be a scenario कि कुछ फटी जाए सच में, right? But you can never be confident about it. You can never be confident about it, right? Since we cannot perfectly predict outcomes, we are not God that we can perfectly predict outcomes, that all our bets that we make are good only, right? So essentially, whenever we take a decision in life, it's a psychological thing, right? I'm telling you from a point of psychology. You always build a confidence threshold, right? For example, you want to buy a car, right? You go to the showroom, you essentially ask the person, okay, sir, mileage क्या है? वो बोलता है सर 20 किलोमीटर पर आवर. फिर सेकंड बोलते हो ओके सर क्या कहते हैं ये बूट स्पेस कितनी है, दैट्स सेकंड. ठीक है, हाउ मेनी पीपल कैन सिट, थर्ड. नंबर 4, व्हाट आर द इंटीरियर्स लाइक. विद ईच इंफॉर्मेशन दैट यू गेट, योर कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ बाइंग द राइट कार इंक्रीजेस, right? And there is a certain point in between when you are like 70% confident कि हाँ यार यही गाड़ी लेनी है, यही गाड़ी लेनी है, right? I am just telling you, if you are 70% confident, make the decision then and there. I'm saying don't wait for 100%. It's never going to happen, right? इतना ही मैं बोलने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं. So you should decide based on the importance of the decision. What is the confidence threshold where I have to cut? कि नहीं यार इससे ज्यादा मेरे को जरूरत नहीं. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मैं एक छोटा, बहुत लोग मुझसे सवाल पूछते हैं कि भैया मैंने एक गलत कंपनी ज्वाइन कर ली, नाउ माय कल्चर इज स्क्रूड अप एटसेट्रा, व्हाट शुड आई डू, शुड आई लीव बिफोर 1 ईयर, शुड आई नॉट लीव बिफोर 1 ईयर. यार अगर तुम एक साल पहले छोड़ भी दोगे, क्या होगा तुम्हारे साथ? देयर विल बी प्रोबेबली 10 कंपनीज व्हिच विल टेल यू यू लेफ्ट बिफोर एन ईयर, राइट? बट staying there for 6 more months is going to culturally screw you up in your head. And the more you are around people which essentially focus a lot more on opinions, your thinking will start becoming like that, right? So the first thing that I want to put across is whenever you decide how critical a decision is, like for example, you earn 1 crore rupees a year, for example, right? Buying a 5 lakh rupee car might not be a critical decision for you. So for that, you should not invest like 3 months to make that choice. But whereas if you're earning probably 10 lakh rupees a year and buying a 5 lakh rupee car, for you it's a critical decision. You should ideally think about 5 different things, right? So ideally the only thing that I'm just trying to put across to you is the less important a decision, you should define the confidence threshold कि यार मुझे इतनी ही इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए, इसके ऊपर मुझे पता है कि और इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं चाहिए. मेक सेंस? यहां तक अलाइंड है सब मेरे साथ? Is everybody with me? Is everybody with me, guys? Guys, come on, tell me yes. Is everybody clear with me? Yeah. Amazing. ठीक है. Awesome. ठीक है. So here is the, ठीक है. So I just want to talk about how much information should you be gathering before you make a decision, right? Obviously 100% is not possible, right? Even if it's exactly, you define a confidence threshold, right? The confidence threshold is based on the importance of the decision, right? To summarize, your confidence level on predicting a decision's outcome is a function of how much information you have to take the decision. Second, the more important a decision, the higher confidence you require, and thus the more information you need, right? तो पहले एक डिसीजन को स्टैंडर्डाइज करो, बोलो कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है, उसके बेसिस पे बोलो कि अब मुझे इतनी ही इंफॉर्मेशन, मुझे पता है ये इतने इंपैक्टफुल नहीं है, इवन विद 50-60% ऑफ माय इंफॉर्मेशन आई एम फाइन विद इट, आई विल गो अहेड बिकॉज़ इट्स रिवर्सिबल फॉर मी. मेक सेंस? चलो आगे. अब ये ग्राफ देखो, ध्यान से देखो, ठीक है? On the y-axis, you see amount of information one should seek, right? And on the x-axis is the importance of the decision, right? How do you see? देखो, जैसे ही decision ज़्यादा important होने लगा, right? The amount of information that you essentially seek, right? That is effectively growing to 100%, but it's building this kind of curvature, right? right? It is becoming this kind of curve. So majority of your decisions can actually be done with information like 70% or 80%, unless it becomes like super important, right? So that is what I wanted to put across. Ki the more important a decision, 80, and the reason the graph is like this, it's like a curved structure, because 80% of information is very easily available, right? Even if the decision is like medium important, you will be able to find like 80% of the information for that, right? तो वो easily मिलती है. So that's why you essentially see that as the decision becomes more and more important, you are essentially reaching towards 100%, but you are reaching from 80% to 100%. That's why you see the curve is like this, because 80% is available even if the decision was medium important or it was low important, right? Low importance. But if it's a very high importance, then you have to grow from 80 to 95%, which is essentially just a growth of like 15%. But on the contrary, the decision can actually be 10 times more important. तो ये बात क्लियर, तो यू अंडरस्टूड लाइक व्हाई दिस कर्व इज लाइक दिस, राइट? यहां तक बात सबको क्लियर है, right? This reveals something counterintuitive. Your goal should not be always to make the right decision. It should be to invest the right amount of time in making a decision relative to its importance. Your goal is not always to make a right decision. I repeat, हर बार सही होना is not what a product manager should do. The most important thing is that you should ideally see how important the decision is and how much time I should spend on it. If the decision is of very low importance, yeah, even if you're right, who would care, right? So the ramification of subscribing to it are twofold. The first, the downside is that you will end up making more wrong decisions, but when you do, they are likely not important. यही होगा ना, आइडियली यही होगा ना. अगर अगर मैं तुम्हें बोल रहा हूं कि कोई डिसीजन है वो इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है और तुमने 30% इंफॉर्मेशन के साथ कर लिया, यही होगा ना, गलत हो जाएगा ना, राइट? दैट्स द ओनली थिंग दैट माइट हैपन. यू मेड आउट ऑफ 10 decisions, 8 decisions such which you made with 30-40% of information, right? Worst case, what will happen? All will go wrong. That's the worst case. Give me a yes or no in the chat. बताओ, यहां तक बात सबको समझ में आ रही है? बताओ बताओ, यहां तक बात सबको क्लियर है? गिव मी अ यस और नो इन द चैट. आई जस्ट नीड अ रिप्लाई. इतना ही होगा ना कि गलत होंगे ना, बट द डिसीजंस व्हिच यू पॉइंटेड आउट एज क्रिटिकल, and if you are right, then you essentially create something called output, right? So the more number of decisions you make, they build output, and the more right, the critical ones right, you make out of them, that those are called outcomes. I'll repeat, मैं फिर repeat करता हूं. The more number of decisions you make as a product manager brings output for the product manager, but the more number of critical right decisions that you make brings outcomes, and that is far more important. I would rather hire a product manager who does 100 experiments, but out of those 100 experiments, 7 experiments are critical and all 7 go right, even if the 93 go wrong, then hire a product manager who does 92 right decisions, right? Small with very low impact right decisions, whereas the 8 critical decisions he or she screws up. Make sense? यहां तक सब मेरे साथ अलाइंड है? सबको मेरी बात लॉजिकली चमक रही है? मैं किसी को कन्विंस करने की कोशिश नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं तुमसे लॉजिकली पूछ रहा हूं. बात समझ में आ रही है? गिव मी अ यस और नो. गिव मी अ यस और नो. आर यू एबल टू लॉजिकली अप्रिशिएट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से? ठीक है, मेक सेंस, मेक सेंस. In marriage also we don't listen to dude, this is funny man. ठीक है तो ओके यार, अमेजिंग अमेजिंग श्रीकांत यार, यू जस्ट ब्रॉट इन अ लाइव एग्जांपल. वेरी कूल, वेरी कूल. ठीक है, ठीक है. अब like for example, right? अब let's assume you essentially have to put across adding for example, how many of you have used this flat and flatmates on Facebook, right? Can somebody tell me how many of you have used flat and flatmates on Facebook? सॉरी यार, मैं फैन की स्पीड बढ़ा रहा हूं, 2 मिनट दे दो मेरे को. हाँ, सॉरी. तो how many of you have used flat and flatmates on Facebook? बताओ बताओ, गिव मी a yes or no guys, come on come on. हाँ, राइट, तो राइट, so what I essentially mean, like flat and flatmates is a place where you can essentially look for flats, right? And in Facebook these are like large groups, right? So people have built marketplaces like Nestaway and other marketplaces used to exist, right? So flat and flatmates basically is like a Facebook group which they have made across all cities, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, etc. And you can essentially put a post and say that my flat is vacant or I am looking for a roommate. These are my requirements, this is the rent, this is everything, and people get connected. So what Facebook essentially, for example, they realized, right, if can I make a product out of it, for example, tomorrow they essentially say that, right? Now what is the difference between in in gathering 35% of information versus 70%? It's not 2x, right? Most of the time, most relevant information is available very easily, right? The Pareto principle also applies here, that 81% of information you need with little investment, while getting 100% of information takes a lot of effort, right? Say you are a PM at Facebook and you are essentially looking into the same thing. So you, what you would essentially do is you would first look into ki Facebook groups ka kya behavior hai, are people doing it, how they are doing it, why they are doing it, all of those things you will figure out, right? You will do quantitative research, etc., and you will figure out that people are using it, and you essentially know, I know for a fact, I have found a flat through flat and flatmates. So if you go to Facebook, you essentially try to figure it out ki, okay, you join a particular group, you see a lot of posts putting every day, and you just go interested, and people DM you and say that okay, my flat is vacant or it got filled up, right? So you essentially know that it is working as a feature, right? Now there can be a different question ki, why are people not using a marketplace like Zillow, Magic Bricks, and other etc., ABCD, whatever, Nestaway or whichever, Co-Live, right? Whichever they, but you for a fact know that Facebook to use हो रहा है, ये तो क्लियर है, उनको यूज कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं सेकेंडरी क्वेश्चन है, प्राइमरी थिंग है कि फेसबुक तो यूज हो रहा है, राइट? तो डू यू रियली नीड इनफ इंफॉर्मेशन टू डू क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च, क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च फॉर बिल्डिंग दिस फीचर? प्रोबेबली नॉट, राइट? बिकॉज 80% ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन तो तुम्हारे पास ही है, तुम्हें पता है कि जनता यूज कर रही है, जनता को वैल्यू मिल रही है, मुझे बस इसको मोनेटाइज करना है, स्ट्रक्चर बनाना है, राइट? सो all I'm trying to put across is, although knowing why you are using Facebook for buying or selling, it's not really needed. It's मतलब इतना तुम्हें basically डिजाइन करने के लिए बहुत ज्यादा ये नहीं चाहिए, तुम्हें ये सब पता करना होगा कि हाँ, why they are using it, how they are using it, why it adds value. But from an importance, and if I ask you today, should we build a monetization structure on the community structure of flat and flatmates in Facebook? How you will do it, how it will scale, all secondary questions. Should you do it? Enough proof that you should, and you should give him, and based on the size of the communities, like flat and flatmates का एक community का size में, मतलब एक community में there are like million people, and they are like, and engagement is through the roof, right? कभी जाके देखना, flat and flatmates engagement is through the roof, लोग अपना फर्नीचर बेचते हैं, पता नहीं क्या क्या बेचते हैं, right? तो लोग तो यूज कर रहे हैं, right? So I can build this feature, so I know for a fact कि in order to make this decision to make it or not make it, I need probably 70% of information, right, to make the MVP or whatever, right? Because I know that behavior exists, I know for a fact. यहां तक बात समझ में आई, बात क्लियर हो गई, right? So you would ideally, what you will ideally do is like, you will just take 60-70% of information, go to flat and flatmates, see what is the number of posts daily, how many comments on the posts are there, right? Then how many people essentially say, you can get all that information from the group itself. तो उसके लिए अब तुम्हें क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च क्यों करना है यार? बात समझ में आई? तो ये बात क्लियर है सबको? गिव मी अ यस 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 इन द चैट, गिव मी अ यस 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 इन द चैट. ये बात सबको क्लियर है? गिव मी यस 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 इन द चैट, जल्दी बताओ. अमेजिंग अमेजिंग, ठीक है. अब देखो ऊपर वाला कर्व ध्यान से देखना, ठीक है. I have written percentage, first thing that I have written across is percentage of available information, right? That's on the y-axis. On the x-axis is amount of time to get that information, right? Iska bhi curve is like this, right? Something like a hyperbolic curve, right? ठीक है, उसका रीजन है क्योंकि 80% इंफॉर्मेशन आप देख रहे हो ऑन द टाइम. अगर इफ आई जस्ट पुट द 80% जहां पे इंटरसेक्ट कर रहा है, दैट टाइम इज प्रोबेबली लाइक वन, whatever that time का न्यूमरल आप ले रहे हो, मे बी one time unit or 2 time units or 3 time units, but in order to get from 80 to 100 it is probably like 5x or 10x of that. Make sense? तो इसीलिए what I'm trying to put across is based on the importance of the decision, 80% of the information तुम्हें easily मिल जाएगी. Right? Now second question. ठीक, second graph, if you are able to see, the second graph shows amount appropriate time to make a decision, right, versus the importance of a decision, from not important to important, right? So at this point of time what you will essentially understand that most decisions that you're essentially taking till are like not very important decisions, so isliye the amount of time taken should be less. Whereas if you see the decisions on the right hand side which are very important, they are like skewed, right? So there you have to take a lot of time. So basically you have to look at area under the curve. That's why last time मैं आप सबको ये बोल रहा था कि जिसका मैथ्स अच्छा होता है ना, they are able to better appreciate this. But I am still going to make it even more simpler for you. The area under the curve till the point you reach very important stage would be very high and the time taken should be very less. Ideally मैं यही बोलना चाह रहा हूं कि based on the structure of information capture, 80% information तुम्हें easily मिल जाएगी, उसी पे तुम्हें डिसीजन ले लेना चाहिए, unless and until you figure out that decision is very very critical. Make sense? ये पीपीटी मैं सबके साथ शेयर कर दूंगा, यू टेक योर टाइम टू essentially understand that, but principally मैं ये बोल रहा हूं 80% of your all information that you are essentially getting you will get in 20% time, as simple as that. Make sense? यहां तक बात क्लियर है? Give me a yes yes yes. ठीक है, give me a yes 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 if you understood. Guys come on. ठीक है, amazing. ठीक है, and the last part that I want to kind of leave you with is that most decisions are not important, right? The model shows the decision importance. So basically on the y-axis there is the importance of the decision, sorry, x-axis there is the importance of the decision, right? You would see that most area under the curve is towards the zero part or the towards the intersection of the axis, because most decisions are not important, right? We are making decisions all over a day, like should you roll out to 5% users, should you roll out to 10% users, should you roll out to 15% users, should you most decisions are trivial. So percentage of decisions versus the importance, most decisions that you are essentially taking are 80% not important. ठीक है, तो ये तीनों चीजें मैं आपको बता रहा हूं. ठीक है, last part that to bring it all home together, right? The first thing is the less important the decision, the less information you should try to seek it. Second is effort in getting that kind of information gets exponentially harder if you grow from 80% to 100%. Third, decisions are most decisions are not important. So if you essentially see, अब ये graph छोड़ दो, but somewhere in between, right? So it is the percentage of decisions which are not important का एक curve है versus the time taken to make an important decision का एक curve है. They intersect at a particular point. On the left hand side, all decisions are not important, though they should be made quickly. On the right hand side, few decisions are important और उनपे time लगाना चाहिए, right? So therefore, good decision makers are quick decision makers. Right? So you put that principle across, see how, rate the importance of the decision, and based on whatever 50-60% of confidence that you have, make a choice and make an experiment, and you essentially go towards it, right? So applying these principles, I know, is incredibly tough. Nobody likes to be wrong, and as a PM, being wrong is very public and can be career damaging, because that's the only thing that you value across, right? If you manage PMs, recognize that जो PMs और decision नहीं लेते और बहुत टाइम लगा देते हैं और फिर वो और उस decision की value नहीं रहती, they are worse than people who make decisions and are 40% or 50% of the time wrong, right? जैसे the sign up button, make it sign up button change, do it immediately. Second, Facebook marketplace थोड़ा टाइम लगाओ, समझो अच्छे से, मीडियम इंपॉर्टेंट डिसीजन है. लोगो वाला, टेक योर टाइम, डोंट मेक इट लाइक सुपर फास्ट. यहां पे मैं आज आपको छोड़ता हूं. This is what I wanted to this. So one of the things that I want to leave you with, all of you guys, is that another definition of a product manager, which is great product managers are intelligent bet makers. They are not a general bet maker. They are an intelligent bet maker. And in your life, if out of the 10 bets that you made, if 7 of those bets are right, then you are a great PM. एक प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर एक बहुत अच्छा बेट मेकर होता है. और अच्छे लोग बेट्स कौन लेते हैं? हु मेक गुड बेट्स, राइट? हु आर जनरली लाइक पीपल हु अंडरस्टैंड टाइम एंड इंपॉर्टेंस. जिंदगी में कोई भी डिसीजन को, जैसे हम इंपैक्ट वर्सेस सेटिस्फैक्शन पे जाते हैं ना, आई एसेंशियली टॉट यू अबाउट इंपैक्ट वर्सेस सेटिस्फैक्शन. द ओनली थिंग दैट यू हैव टू बी कंसिडरेट अबाउट देयर इज, as a product manager, your responsibility is not to be always right. It is important to be right when it matters. Make sense? प्लीज जिसने मेरा वीडियो लाइक नहीं किया अभी लाइक कर दो यार. तुम सबसे एक अपील है, ठीक है? आई थिंक जब भी मैं मोस्ट प्रोबेबली गोइंग फॉरवर्ड सैटरडे को ही वीडियोस करूंगा, क्योंकि संडे से मेरा कुछ काम है. देयर इज समथिंग दैट इज गेटिंग स्टार्टेड एंड आई माइट, तो मोस्टली मेरे सैटरडे शाम को ही वीडियोस होंगे. जब भी मैं कोई पोस्ट करूं एंड आई एसेंशियली वांट टू मेक अ कम्युनिटी, प्लीज मेक इट एज वायरल, बिकॉज आई वांट, इतनी मेहनत करके मैं इतना अच्छा कंटेंट बनाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं, राइट? एंड आई एम ट्राइंग टू मेक इट एज सिंपल. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, मैं ये कंटेंट इतनी वाइड इजीली अवेलेबल भी नहीं है. अगर तुम्हें यही कंटेंट कंज्यूम करना होगा, रीफोर्ज तुमसे $4000 ले लेगा इस चीज के लिए, राइट? तो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम ट्राइंग टू पुट अक्रॉस इज ब्रिंग एज मेनी पीपल एज यू कैन, राइट? मेरे को आज देखो, मेरे को इसमें दुख नहीं है कि मैंने तुम्हें 20-25 लोगों को पढ़ाया. मुझे दुख इसमें है कि जो लोग इससे वैल्यू डिराइव कर सकते हैं वो जनता नहीं आई, राइट? इसीलिए मैं ये बोलने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं कि if you can essentially try to send it across to as many people, put it across, and that is something that we'll do. Once again, thank you very much. Please like the video as much as possible, give your comments, right? Tell me what essentially you have to do across. कल वाला लाइव नहीं होगा मानस, कल लाइव नहीं होगा. कल मैं आई एम बिजी, तो टुमारो देयर विल बी नो, ठीक है यार? निलेश, आई हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट इट n number of times. You can essentially go back and check it across. MBA हेल्प करता है फॉर श्योर यार. अशबीर, प्लीज डोंट डू दिस, राइट? नीड हेल्प इन, आई अंडरस्टैंड यू नीड हेल्प. प्लीज ड्रॉप इट अक्रॉस, सेंड आउट एन ईमेल टू मी. और मैं इतना काम दे रहा हूं, देखो यार, कोई एक चीज मैं प्लीज बताना चाहता हूं तुम सबको, कोई डायरेक्ट गूढ़ बान नहीं है कि श्रवण ने बोल दिया तो तुम्हारा हो जाएगा, ऐसे नहीं होता है. तो मैंने इतनी सारी चीजें पढ़ी. I have talked about how to make a portfolio. I've talked about how to do assignments. I've talked about all of those things. वो करो ना, वो करो, उसके बाद तुम्हें वैल्यू दिखेगी, राइट? सुनना और ज्ञान लेना बहुत आसान होता है. That's why I'm trying to put across. ठीक है, मेरा ईमेल ये है, ठीक है? I hope go through this video once more, try to better understand it across, right? And then probably, dude, I don't do one-on-one mentoring. It is not viable for me, ठीक है? So for me it will be very hard. I might open some slots, but I'll keep it like very crystal clear for the people who are putting an effort. I don't want to essentially just give my time to people who are not putting an effort. And most of the times, at least 100% of the information जो होती है, yeah, not really. Because if the, so Akanksha has asked a very good question, which is like, wouldn't making too many wrong decisions make negative impact and rework while we working on how to overcome the fear of being wrong? Actually it doesn't. That's why I'm said now, see, even if you're wrong on a non-critical decision, it wouldn't matter, but at least you will learn something. That's why I said the first point is to decide how critical the decision is, right? If the criticality of the decision is very less, then even if you're wrong, it doesn't matter. You will have some learning from it, right? So that's why great product companies promote experimentation, right? So that's how it works. Awesome. ठीक है, dude. All of you guys, please like the video. जितने भी लोग हो, जितने में किया, and simultaneously share it with as many people. Please write LinkedIn posts on what you learned from it. Simultaneously, what you essentially want to put it across, right? And we will have more and more sessions. I will keep you apprised of that when I do a session. It will be either on Saturday evening, और अगर Sunday morning हो सका तो मैं Sunday morning को करूंगा. ठीक है, मेक सेंस? थैंक यू गाइस, ऑसम, अमेजिंग, टेक केयर।